TK and Drinks, and it's another Wednesday, so we've got another episode of Inside the Mead Maker Studio. This week, we're going to be joined by Triaxial Meads out of Michigan. I believe Mr. Michael Spears is going to be joining us, possibly Paul and or Barry will be joining us as well. They're the three cats there that make up Triaxial Meadworks, or Meads, I think it's just Triaxial Meads. So hopefully they'll pop in here real quick and we'll be able to start talking to those guys. Like I said, they're out of Michigan. I had the pleasure of meeting those guys at Sugar Belt this year, which I was really excited about because these guys are some phenomenal mead makers. I haven't had too much of their stuff. I did get to try what they did brought to the Sugar Belt, and I was just like blown away by like the depth and the complexity of their traditionals that they had. They had a couple Mayambo traditionals, which I was, like I said, just taken aback by how much like tobacco and molasses and smoky character they got out of this really cool African honey. And I'm hoping that they'll be able to give us some insight on how they pulled that all together, whoever is able to join us tonight. So I'm not seeing them popping in here, so I am going to go ahead and try to shoot them an invite. Let's see here. Triaxial Meads. And yeah, there we go. Mr. Michael Spears is there with us. Get him popped in, and we'll go from there. Invite to join. Invite sent. Maybe? No, I can't tell. Ooh. Oh, there we go. Invite already accepted. That's why I couldn't send him it, because he'd already sent me one. So, yes, accept. Go live. Yes, that's the plan. I'd be upset if we don't get to go live. So please, Instagram, make that happen. Maybe not. Oh, yes.
There we go.
Well, I call that a 90% success. There we go.
Success is relative.
Yeah, that's a very true statement. Success is relative. Well, thank you
How you doing?
so much for joining me tonight, Mr. Michael Spears. Appreciate your time and energy.
Oh, glad to be here.
Excellent. So why don't you go ahead and give yourself a little introduction and give us a little background of Triaxial Meads.
Okay. I'm Mike Spears. We started it. We actually mixed our first batch of mead on February 29th, 2020, exactly 2 weeks to the day before everything shut down. So great timing. So I have two partners, Barry Mulso and Paul Zimmerman, who may or may not be joining in, depending on their schedules. They're both pretty busy, but they may be along at some point here, hopefully. And it's kind of a long story. Barry and I started off as homebrewers, and we're brewing a lot of beer, and then started doing ciders and meads, and we were turning out some pretty good meads, got some good awards, including a Mazer Cup Best of Show. So we kind of stuck with the mead thing for a long time. And Paul, our third partner, used to be a mead maker and co-owner at Be Nectar, and he went his separate ways from them, and one day just kind of got a hold of us and said, hey, you guys want to do something? Said, yeah, let's do it. And that's kind of how we got where we are. We actually don't have our own place. We work under somebody else's license, so it's actually produced by them. We do all the production and everything. It's really the three of us, and no one else touches it, but we're looking for our own place now, and that's kind of where we are. So we've been at it for 2.5 years or so, and we've probably done, I want to say we've done like 18 different batches. You know, we open up every few weeks and have a release every couple months, really.
Yeah.
And then we just literally serve people pours out of plastic cups on folding tables and chairs. And we're in some stores around. We're online, so we've got that going at least, so we can ship. And then we've done the Sugar Belt Festival twice now too. We went to the first Sugar Belt Festival just as customers because we were pretty new then. We just didn't have, you know, we we were so small then, and we're still so small, but we
Yeah,
were so small then that
that was
there
like
was no
just
way
like
we
2 or 3
had
months
enough
into your
product.
venture.
Yeah. But then after that, we said, okay, well, we'll have enough next year. And we did, and here we are. And that's where I met you last year.
Very cool.
Or this year, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
This year. I
yeah,
felt like it was last year.
and that's yeah, it does feel like it was last year. Holy cow! But you guys, so you guys started put your first batch in the last day of February 2020. You open your doors, I'm assuming, or so to speak. You start
October.
selling bottles to the public in, was it August of 2020?
October. I think it was October.
October 2020.
Yeah, because we got the batches mixed up and everything shut down. Just enough time where we could get them in secondary and let them condition out. And that was that summer that people were afraid to be around anybody, and so those batches sat and conditioned. Probably a couple more months than we would have normally let them, but and that it didn't hurt them any, obviously. Then we started bottling things up, but yeah, I want to say it was. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was October when we did our first release.
Nice. And so you guys came out the gate though with a plan. It seems like you guys had your monofloral series that you're doing. You had a couple different like a peanut butter and jelly. Was at the 3-2-1 jam session, or 3-2-1 let's jam? I don't know if that one was a release one, but you had several of these big, you guys being in Michigan, you're surrounded by a lot of those big sugar bomb, berry bomb meads. So you guys came out the gate with some big, strong flavors, it seems like.
Yeah, when you're in that Detroit, Chicago mead corridor, you have to. The traditionals have been really good for us. Our very first, we did a double release for our first one. So we released a monofloral volume 1, which is a raspberry blossom honey. And then we did a spiced date mead for the other sort of co-release for the first one. It was called Triumph for the Palms. It's funny because Paul and Barry were definitely, of the mindset that they wanted to do traditionals, and I wasn't opposed to traditionals, but I didn't really want to be out the gate with traditionals. I was like, I'm more like, if I don't make it, like I want big fruit bombs, and they're like, no, we gotta do some traditionals. So, okay. I wasn't probably completely sold on it, but here's the great thing about this. We think alike. We think very, and when one of us has an idea that the other hasn't, we listen, we talk it out, and it's pretty easy for any of the three of us to get the other two on board with anything. So they were very convinced on the traditionals should be something that's our wheelhouse, because there were a lot of them out there, which is probably why I wasn't. And they proved me very wrong right away. And I was an instant convert. I've always loved traditionals, don't get me wrong. I've made plenty of them as a home brewer, but I just didn't think commercially. But our monoflorals have been some of our best sellers, and we've had 6 of them at this point. Well, not 4 of them have been single varietals, and then the 2 African meads you mentioned. So,
and then the one blend, technically, I guess, another
blend,
one. But
yeah, I suppose you could call it 7. There was only 50 bottles of that, so.
Oh, really? There was only 50 bottles of that?
Yeah, we only did 50 bottles of the blend. Just, I love blending things. I kind of have a reputation for that. Like, I'll just take anything and mix it with anything.
Nice.
And I was like, let's blend these 50-50 and see how it turns out. I'm like, okay, let's tweak it. And then I think it was Paul, could have been Barry, but one of the two of them said we should at least do like just a really limited bottle run on those too. Why not? So we did. So we got about, our batches are small. They're about 200 they range 220, 260 bottles a batch. So we figured,
gotcha.
And we basically pulled off roughly 25 bottles of each of the winter and summer to make the blend.
Gotcha. Okay, so that makes sense. In about 50 bottles that you'll have of the blend. And like you said, you guys are on Vinoshipper, so I say so. But you are on Vinoshipper, and I did see those on there earlier. So anybody who's dying to try those Mayambos, there's a handful of them left.
Yeah, I think I have 4 or 6 on Vinoshipper right now, and we'll probably save the rest for the tap for the next release, just because we always pour the other stuff too at the releases. Oh
yeah, no, that's definitely a good idea to stash some bottles away for a rainy day, so to speak. One of the thing that I wanted to ask you about. I'm on your Vinoshipper. I'm looking at everything. You got, prices are fair. $26.99, $27.99. What is with the 99? The only meter I've seen on there that's including pennies in their price range.
I don't know. I don't kind of how people do it in retail, I know we all have a lot of retail experience, so I think that's just it. $26.99 sounds better than 27.
It definitely does. It was just threw me for a loop because it's the first time I've seen that on all my different Vinoshipper purchases. Like, these guys are $27.99, $26.99. Okay, hey, that works. It just caught me off guard, I guess.
Yeah, we want your 99.
So you guys,
we need to get our own place. we need those pennies.
Every last penny counts. No, I like it. Well, I like that you're considering pennies up versus a penny down. But either way, man, I'm here for it. But the more important thing is that those are very reasonable prices for your phenomenal meads that you guys make. So people who are sleeping on that shouldn't be, because that's good stuff at a great price. And so what's your guys' next step you're taking towards getting your own tap room? I mean, there's three of you. I'm assuming you guys, based on what I'm understanding and what I've read, none of you guys are full-time at the meter. You guys all still have your regular 9-to-5 jobs? Yeah,
we all work full-time. I'm a teacher full-time. Paul works in distribution, and he does outstate selling for distributors. Barry is he's an assistant city clerk in the Detroit area. So he's a retired teacher, actually. That's how I met Barry, as we worked together at the same school for 25 years. So yeah, we all have full-time gigs. And so we're just kind of looking for the right place. We've got some other projects we're kind of trying to think of to diversify. We don't want to do just mead. And so we have some very specific kind of parameters we want for a place. So one popped up the other day and it looked really good, and then I found out it was about 300 feet from a school, so that was a no-go. Michigan won't allow that.
Probably not going to let you.
Permission, and that is almost impossible to get, so we wouldn't even bother trying there. So we're looking around. I think I hope that sometime this summer we'll find the place. So we're gonna be really slow here for the next several months. I think we have some things in the tanks for sure to come up for like late summer and into the fall. But while we do that, like I said, we work under somebody else's license, and they're great partners. They're wonderful people. They're extremely good to us. So it's all good. But, the plan all along was to do this, sort of a unique way to do it. We could do something idiotic, like put our houses up, which we will never, ever do. And just take out massive loans. We could do that. We're not going to do that. We'll do a little Kickstarter or something like every meadery out there has done, I think, as they start up in brewery. So we'll do a little bit of that. But we've been able to sell through them. We obviously, with this partner, we obviously have an arrangement. They take, we pay them rent, percentage of sales, et cetera, et cetera. There's, it's like they're making their money too. But it's allowed us to put some money away. Here in Michigan, the laws are draconian when it comes to opening a place. So at the very best case scenario, and this would be a miracle, we would be 6 to 8 months, paying a lease on a place while we build it out and everything, and not being able to ferment a drop. So it could be up to a year before you can even ferment. And you think of the cost of commercial real estate to lease a place, to build it out, it's going to take some money. So we've been able to put some away. It won't be enough. We'll do a little Kickstarter. We got some other avenues we're looking at too. So if we can find a place, so I think we're in a position to make it work. So but we're very different in the industry. Some people get frustrated. I'll get messages once in a while. I'll say, hey, what are your hours? And I'm like, well, we only open up every few weeks for a release. Oh, well, I'm going to be in town Saturday. Are you open? No, we're open this Saturday. So it's been tough for us. It's not ideal. It's not what people are used to, which is why we've done some distribution to stores and things like that. We're in several stores around Southeast Michigan, like around Detroit, and a couple, 3 over in Grand Rapids as well.
Well, that's good. So at least if people come to the area, you can at least say, hey, well, we don't have a spot, but here's where you can get our stuff at.
Yeah, and I keep the website updated with all the stores that we're in and everything.
Now, does the place where you're co-brewing at, do they have your guys' stuff on tap? Do you guys keg any of your stuff, or do they do bottle pours? I'm assuming bottle pours would probably be a no-go.
They'll do some for sure. You know, that you can that's one of the places you can buy bottles. And
Oh, cool.
we don't do a lot of it there. But if somebody goes in and you know, whatever they have on the shelf at the time, you know, yeah, they'll do pours sometimes. Mostly bottle sales there though.
Right.
So yeah, it's a unique way of doing things, you know, and in a lot of ways it's been very ideal. It's allowed us to stash some money. It's allowed us to get our name out there. You know, it's enough where we've been able to be invited to Sugar Belt and pour, and I think with you know, a modicum of success there. And then you know, and then it's been, you know, tough for us because, you know, we can't do things the way a lot of other folks have been doing them. You know, we're kind of limited. I don't want to say our hands are tied. They're not, but we're limited in what we can do, you know.
You're
so we want to take those
greater restrictions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think once we
do you
that,
guys...
you know, the place we work with, they're a cidery, and so we really can't make our own cider because, you know, we're not going to obviously compete with our partner there. So once we're on our own, we're going to definitely do ciders. The three of us are all really into ciders, and I think we're all really good cider makers. Paul in particular he's a genius. So
before we get too much farther into this, are you drinking a mead tonight?
Yes, sir. I have a mead.
What are you drinking on?
I am drinking the Meadow Foam Traditional, which I believe you had. This is the
I did have that one.
Yeah. And this was you know, no slight to anybody else, but a lot of meadow foam meads out there are back sweetened with meadow foam honey, and there's nothing wrong with that, and they are freaking delicious. This one has no back sweetening. I kept stepping it up and adding honey, so it finished at a nice high gravity. But it's 100% fermented meadow foam, which is hard to do because meadow foam can get away from you fast.
Yeah. And that's something that I wanted to speak with you about, is with those monoflorals, is there a specific method that you're doing for those? Do you have a specific type of procedure or anything, or do you guys just doing the same way you do all of your other things?
We're doing them the same way we do everything, really. We ferment it out. We let it finish where it finishes. You know, with the monofloral, with a meadow foam, I mean, you know, I did step that one up a little bit because I didn't want to back sweeten it. You know, we certainly have back sweetened other meads. You know, the other monoflorals all have some degree of back sweetening, not a lot. You know, we don't want any raw honey character in there whatsoever. But we have back sweetened them with of course, the same varietal honey. But no, we keep it real traditional, real simple. We, you know, honey, water, yeast, ferment it out, stepped nutrients, obviously. It finishes where it finishes it. We stabilize it. You know, some meaderies out there, you know, don't like to stabilize. Some do. We stabilize it. You know, not in any great quantities or anything that's gonna give you off flavors, hopefully, but that's all we're doing. You know, we're keeping it as simple as we can, honestly.
That's what I'm a fan of. Do what works best with the minimal amount of interjection from anything else. You know, like I live in a hot area, so why would I even really try to fight it? I'm just going to use Kvike yeast because it works with the environment that I'm in. I tried a couple different times to work with, you know, more wine yeast, some D47 and stuff like that. But it doesn't do well when it's hot outside.
No, you have to, you know, and controlling that temperature is an investment, and it's an investment of, well, I was thinking of time investment, actually financial investment as well.
Both.
But, you know, it's a lot of extra work. So that's what we do. We've done, you know, we haven't done any commercial stuff with Kvike yeast, but we've certainly experimented with you know, like some homebrew size test batches, and I've had good results with it. I did an orange blossom with Kvike 3-4 years ago, and I thought it was great. It was nice. I mean, we're talking like a 1 gallon batch here, but I thought it tasted really good. I didn't really get any off flavors or anything. I can't tell you which Kvike yeast I used, but it's one of the cleaner ones, you know. I want to do. There's the the Bonanza. You know that one?
I haven't seen that one yet. I mostly hear about people using like Hothead or like Voss.
Voss. That's the one I used on the Orange Blossom. The
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Bonanza gives you a really strong banana character.
Ooh.
And I'm just thinking like what you could do with that, to make a fun mead, maybe like just do like a wildflower base, do that
Yeah.
Bonanza. I mean, you can get a really good banana character, and it's a good banana. It's not like a candy banana, like a Laffy Taffy, like a pretty good legit ripe banana character from it. But I'm thinking like, something like that, the cacao nibs or some fruit, strawberry.
That sounds
strawberry,
good.
do a strawberry mead, but fermented with that. Not to say not to like say this is a strawberry banana mead, but here's a strawberry mead that we fermented with this Bonanza yeast for that character, and it might go really well. So
exactly,
that's a fun one.
It's another tool in your toolbox of ideas.
Yeah, the homebrewers are making Hefeweizens in like 3 days with them now. Because you get that really strong banana flavor out of a Hefeweizen. So people are doing it with the Kvike yeast, and I mean they're literally serving this like 5 days, kegged and carved 5 days after brew day, because the Kvike.
And it's good.
A Hefeweizen is so low alcohol. It's done with a Kvike yeast in what 18 to 30 hours. Then they serve it fresh. And it's a it doesn't have to be clear. So I had somebody in my homebrew club served one last year. I think it was the Michigan Homebrew Festival. I mean, it wasn't my club. It was somebody at the Michigan Homebrew Festival had a 5-day Hefeweizen, and it was delicious. I mean, was it going to win a medal? Maybe not, but it was really good.
It was definitely not swill.
No. I mean, it was really good and it was really clean. It's just, it's not quite the same banana flavor you get from like a Hefeweizen yeast.
Gotcha.
But it's close.
Yeah. Have you messed with? Well, actually, before I got a question I want to ask you in there. So I got a couple different bottles here I was thinking about opening. I've got a Pyment. I've got a Vikings mead. I think it's a barrel-aged traditional. And then I've got a pear almond.
Are these
from different all from different cats?
Pear almond sounds really interesting.
All right, let's do that one. I've been dying to try that one. So this is it's called the Almond Pear Project, and it's from Bone Flower.
Oh, okay. Well, it's almost guaranteed to be good then.
Yeah, I've had a handful of Bone Flower stuff here and there outside the festival, and they had a key lime pie one there this year. I was so impressed with it. I thought it was just the bee's knees. That's one I want to try.
Really good. Have you tried? I can't remember the name of it.
Actually, I didn't get any out at the Ghost Key.
No, they had at the industry night that you were at for Sugar Belt. It was the Bone Flower Manic collaboration.
Oh, collusion.
The collusion. Yeah, I knew. I was like,
I've had both the collusions.
Collaboration. I couldn't come up with it. That's really good. That's one of the.
Yeah, collusion is phenomenal. Yeah, I'm a huge fan of collusion. That stuff is delicious, and it comes in that really cool shape, like square but not square top bottle, and it's some wild stuff. And then I had a collab with them and Four Fires called Paper Boats Dose. It was a s'mores with blueberries.
Had that.
Forget about it, man. Mm-hmm. Oh, you had that one?
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, that one was amazing.
Great stuff too.
Yeah, I'm a junkie for Chris's stuff. That dude is just on another level himself as well.
Yeah. So what I'm curious about this pear almond is a couple things. One, how much the pear comes through, because it's really easy for pear to fade. Comes
through quite a bit, actually. I'm really impressed with the amount of pear that's coming through on the nose. It's very juicy, like opening a can of peaches or like a can of pears almost.
Yeah, like does the almond taste like like a nut, like these meads with nuts in them, like the PB&J meads or the hazelnut that we have, or like the blue suede shoes,
right?
Or is it more of an amaretto?
Ooh, man, that pear comes through straight away. Actually, I'd say the almond is a bit weak, if anything. I definitely get a light, more the amaretto character on the back end of the palate.
Mm-hmm.
If there is some nuttiness, it's definitely overpowered by that strong, intense pear. That is like pear preserves, like Grandma used to make it. You open up a jar and it's just that intense whiff of fresh pear right in your face.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So
I love a good pear mead.
Oh yeah, this one's awesome. So I'm actually working with some almonds right now that I'm going to. Oh, what's up, Creaky Bones? I'm working with some almonds right now that I'm going to put in an apricot almond mead, and I lightly toasted them in the oven, and then threw them in with some wildflower honey while they were still hot. And I kind of let them do like a small infusion, and I'm kind of shaking them and turning and mixing it and everything. I'm curious, have you ever done something like that? Or you know if that's like a standard practice people do? I haven't seen anybody, and everybody was kind of giving me like weird looks about what I was doing.
So it's very similar to how I make the hazelnut mead that we made. I think you tried, did you try the hazelnut? Didn't?
I may have. I tried a lot of meats that weekend, my man, to be honest.
Festival. We had it behind the counter.
I don't remember. I drank a lot of meads. That day was kind of blurry.
You may remember this. If you'd remember this one, if you had it. Maybe you didn't. I promised. No, I know you did, because I promised it to you Friday night. And I remember I held the last.
And I did come over there early. Yes, yes. Okay, yes. I do remember that one. That was still that was early in the day. That was very early in the day, yes.
Well, I think you were overserved. But
I think I overserved myself, yes.
So this is what I do. Is I take some hazelnut. I get whole hazelnuts. Crush them up just a little bit, like not fine. Put them in like Ziplocs and pound them a little bit. Like maybe like one hazelnut will break into say 3 to 5 pieces. So they're not like real fine or anything. And I have a pretty big electric skillet, and I put them in there with honey and vanilla sugar. Gives a little extra character on that one. And I poach those. Well, I'm sorry, I skipped a step. I do roast those hazelnuts in the oven, just probably 10 minutes, just till they start shining a little bit. Really, just just the first whiff I get, I yank them. And then I poach them in the mostly honey. I put a little vanilla sugar in there. It's like a Colombian kind of darker sugar. And I poach the heck out of them, and it takes me all day to do because I can only put as many as my electric skillet will make, and I fill a gallon jug, basically. I make a gallon of hazelnut infused
honey slurry.
Honey slurry, and that's what I back sweeten it with, and that's where I get all the hazelnut flavor.
That's exactly what I'm doing with these almonds. That was my wife's idea. She's like, no, you just need to, because everybody was like, no, you need to roast them and then do this and set them in here for this and all these other things. I was like, I'm just going to try to do this honey infusion thing because it sounds like a solid plan to me based off of the, like, my wife's a genius when it comes to...
Almond is such a subtle flavor that it's going to take a lot of almonds, whereas hazelnuts are, they're really strong and aromatic, so it doesn't take as much. It still takes, it's like a 6-hour day when I do the hazelnuts.
Dude. Yeah, I'm only working with a 3-gallon batch that I'm going to be producing. And so I'm going to be working with, I'm going to be working with I got 9-gallon bags full of apricots that I went out and picked. And I've probably got 2 sandwich bags bolstering full of almonds, or 3 sandwich bags that were full of almonds that I did. And I've got access to my family grows almonds out here, so I've got pretty much unlimited access to them. I still got to pay for them, but I get the family price.
That's you get the family discount. That's good. I feel like you're probably going to need more almonds. I mean, I don't know because I've never used almonds, so I'll be curious to hear how it turns out. Because almonds.
So far, it smells amazing. So.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it'll be good. It's even if you just get a little subtle flavor out of it, you can always do more too. So.
Oh yeah, that's definitely my plan. And when you're doing your big berry forward ones, like, do you put berries in primary and in secondary, or is it better to just bomb both?
Both. So
now, is that true for stone fruit as well, or is that just for berries? I mean, because cherries get often looped in with berries, but they're a stone fruit, so I mean,
pretty much every fruit mead we've ever made. trying to think, there are no exceptions to this. Every fruit mead we've made has had primary and secondary fruit. I have a red currant one going right now, and it's going to have 75 pounds of red currants in it. And I did 25 in primary and 50 in secondary. I'm closer to 50-50, but with the red currants, I just wanted that currant flavor to come out a little more. And then, we'll get some fermentation in secondary, but I feel like when you just use secondary, it's just too much of a raw fruit flavor. And it's delicious, but you're just sort of adding flavor on top of the mead, whereas I want to ferment that fruit out too, because the mead is so much more complex when you ferment in primary and then mix it with secondary.
That's kind of where I'm at. I really want to throw, like 3 or 4 of the bags into primary and then put the rest of them in secondary, because I really think it's going to, like you were saying, it's going to bolster the depth of character that the mead has.
Yeah, I would reserve, especially with apricot, I personally reserve at least 50%. I would probably do, and apricot's like peach, you lose a lot of the flavor in fermentation. So I'd probably do like a third of it maybe in primary, and then save the rest for secondary. That'd be, just offhand, I'd have to, if it were my meat, I'd be sitting down and looking at other recipes, seeing what other people have done with it, and I've never worked with apricot, so as one I've never done.
Are you a big guy who's into picking other people's brains about stuff, or you kind of just kind of go with your own? Oh
no, I think I formulate the idea first. I get it in my head, and then if it's something if it's something I've done before, successfully, I'll run with it. I might tweak and say, how can I improve it? I think it's one thing about the three of us is we all know that, at the risk of sounding arrogant, we know we're good mead makers, but we know there's always something to learn. Like, no one ever plateaus. You just don't, every mead maker out there from the newest amateur probably up to Ken, is always trying to learn something new. And so you have to go into it with that attitude. And so, I ask a lot of questions, and that's why I don't think any of us really, the three of us, we don't really keep any trade secrets or anything. I tell people how I do that hazelnut mead. They kind of go nuts over it. So far, nobody's quite reproduced it, but I'll tell anybody anything, because knowledge is. Well, I'm a teacher. It's hard for me to hold knowledge.
I was going to
say, it's not in my nature, But I think that's the best thing. That's why I'm in a homebrew club still, because we're just always trading ideas, and I still learn things about brewing from my homebrew club. In fact, homebrewing has come such a long way since I started it, 20 years ago or whatever it is now, that you have to.
Yeah.
So I ask whoever will talk.
Whoever wants to answer my question, I'll definitely listen.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man.
Yep.
So kind of shift gears here a little bit. So you had mentioned back, when we're talking about your meads as you're coming up and everything and getting into the state where you guys are at. You mentioned you'd taken a gold medal at Mazer Cup, or taken a medal at Mazer Cup, and that was a gold for your guys' Mitten State Barnstormer.
Yeah.
That sounds like an amazing sizer. Yeah.
It was really good. All Michigan heirloom apples, all Michigan wildflower honey. That was one of Paul's babies there. It was just I've never had a sizer with such amazing acidity in it. Everything, the flavor, everything, but the acidity was just, I couldn't believe it. It was so good. It was tart. It was sweet.
Wow.
We actually took, we reserved, I forget how much, we got about 120 bottles though. And we took we took how many ever gallons that is, and we aged, so we'd set that aside. This was before we got the Mazer Gold for it. And we aged that on brandy barrel chips and called that was Barnstormer Reserve. That was really good too. Yeah, so it's funny because some
Oh,
people
bad.
still like the regular better, and some people like the reserve better. I was one that I think I like the regular better, but I mean that's like, I mean when I say better, I mean you know, I
We're
mean do I
talking, yeah,
do I like ribeye or fillet better? You know, I mean I guess I could pick one, but you know,
right. Whichever way the wind's blowing that day.
exactly. The same with those African meads. You know, sometimes I
Oh
like the
yeah,
summer one better, and they're so different. You know, sometimes I like the winter one better. Had I opened one tonight, I would open to winter. You know.
yeah. I've got some of that winter Mayambo honey. I'm still trying to figure out what to do with. I got about 5 pounds of it left, and I really just kind of I don't really know what to do with it. I'm sure I'm going to throw it into the back end of a
Mhm.
project. The guy I got it from made me promise I was going to do something with some cherries or some dark fruits with it. So maybe I'll do something with that.
That'd go really well. That'd be really good with
I
it.
hope so. And I've had a buckwheat and cherry, like buckwheat honey and cherry beads, and
Mhm.
those have been like really funky and like really unique. I dig those ones. So
Yeah, I
I thought
think Mead
about,
Nectar used to make a buckwheat cherry. I know they made a
ooh,
really good buckwheat one back in the day when Paul was there. I want to say they did a cherry one. I'll have to ask him. But if it's the one I'm thinking of, it was really good. It's a great combination of flavors.
yeah. So many people turn their nose up to buckwheat honey, and to me, it's like I mean, I guess yeah, if you're trying to eat it raw, it's probably not the best thing, but it creates some of the like most unique mead
Hmm.
characteristics. It's really fun to see what happens when people play with it.
Yeah, it is. It's not my. I mean, honestly, it's not my favorite.
Oh no,
It's not
definitely
one
not my
I.
favorite.
It's not one I would probably buy. But if I'm in a bottle share, which is where I had the one I mentioned, I'm all about it
Yeah,
for sure. Um, we'll probably make something with buckwheat someday, I'm sure, and I'm all for it. But it isn't my favorite either.
I think I did have one that was really awesome. It was a buckwheat sizer that was aged in I don't think it was aged in rye barrels, I think, but it was from a place up in New Hampshire called Ancient Fire.
Hmm.
If you ever
Yeah,
heard of those guys,
I
but
have.
yeah, that stuff was amazing. It's probably my favorite buckwheat honey mead that I've ever had. That
I
was
never had
friggin'
that
just
one.
delicious.
Yeah, had a couple things from them over the years, at bottle shares and stuff.
Yeah,
I always really liked everything I had from them.
yeah, they were a victim of COVID.
Yeah,
Unfortunately, they
yeah,
no longer around. Really sucks.
it does.
Yes, it does. So you said you've been brewing. How long were you've been homebrewing for 20 plus years? How long have you been making mead? When did you get turned on to that?
Well, let's see here. Probably about 20, probably about 2010, maybe 2009. So
Oh
probably
wow.
like 6, 7 years into the home brewing. Yeah, we were kind of early adopters. I can tell you a few things happened. One is that our homebrew club is the Coonan Guild of Brewers, and so we're sponsored by Coonan Brewing in Warren, Michigan, and they've always
Oh,
made
okay.
mead, and their mead maker Frank is one of the best out there actually, and
Nice.
he wanted some help one day doing some mead, so a bunch of us volunteered to help mix up a bunch of mead. That was probably the very first time. And okay, this is interesting. And we tried some of their meats. I'm like, yeah, this is good. So I don't think we really made anything right away. Um, and then Ken Schramm came and talked to the club one day, um, probably right around the same time, because he's local to us. I actually, like where I'm at home right
Yeah.
now, I am 2.5 miles from Schramm's production facility.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so like we're right in the thick of it. So we've known Ken for a long time, and I think his book was pretty new then as well. And so
Okay.
he came and talked to the club and brought a ton of samples of vintage meads, of newer meads. It was a really, really good meeting. It was actually one of the
Nice.
longest meetings we probably ever had, and so people are going to start
I would bet.
start making some mead. So a couple of us, few of us, probably Barry and I for sure. Um, and we do a lot of our stuff together, like as homebrewers too. But a few other people in the club said, "Okay, we'll make some mead." Now, mind you, we didn't know a whole lot back then, but we're mixing honey and
Yeah.
water. So then, some of us in the club, it was me and one or two other people in the club. We arranged to go to Bee Nectar and have an off-site meeting. We usually meet at Coonan's, and we met at Bee
Yeah.
Nectar one night, and Brad Dalhofer, who's the owner there and Mead genius there, and Paul, who's now with us at Triaxial, basically gave us a lesson on how to make mead that night. I still have pictures from it. Still kind of look at him like, oh my God, we were young, and it's kind of funny because, like Barry and I were there, and it's kind of thinking like, who knew that, like, 11, 12 years down the road, we'd actually be business partners making mead with Paul, but here we are.
Right.
So that was a fun night, and we made a club mead basically. So we did a 5-gallon batch of mead, or maybe it might have even been a 6 or 7-gallon batch of mead. Mixed it all up there. I actually took it back to my house to ferment out, and then we took it up to Kunin's when it was all done, and we bottled it. I actually made labels for it. It was a KGB club mead, and everybody in the club got 2 or 3 bottles, whatever the division worked out to be, 2 or 3 bottles each. And the club reserved some, just kind of aging up. And it's funny because once in a great while, the most recent time being about 2 years ago, one of these bottles will surface. Somebody will find one in a cellar, like, hey, I still have that club mead. And like, open it up. Yeah, it's past its prime, but it's still very drinkable. So that was another thing that happened, getting us into mead. And what was the big ones? I won a best of show homebrew competition in 2008. It was the Michigan Renaissance Festival, and they actually picked, I made a mandarin orange and ginger mead, and it got best of show out of everything. Not just best of show mead and cider, like whole Renaissance Festival. And so my prize was, and this is kind of how I got to know Paul, my prize was I got to go make a commercial batch of that mead at Be Nectar. So I went with him and Ian, who's actually the cider maker for On-Show Cider now, out in DC. I think they have a production facility in Eastern Pennsylvania now. So the 3 of us made this mandarin orange ginger mead. It was a pretty limited run. I think it was like maybe 100 bottles. I don't know. Paul would know better than me on that probably. But we made that. And so that was kind of cool. So I had like my first commercial mead for winning that. And that really got us, kind of going on it too. And then, at that point, and Barry had won a best of show cider. No, I'm sorry. No, it was mead as well. I can't remember if it was the same year or the next year, but Barry got best of show mead at the World Expo of Beer, which sounds very international, but it's just a Michigan thing that has like a few like big breweries like Sam Adams will put something into. They have a homebrew and a commercial version. So he won. I wish he was with us tonight because he tells the story Barry tells every story far better than I do actually, but he's the guy you should attack for this. But he had this mead that wouldn't finish. So he makes this mead, and again, mind you, and this is not a criticism of Barry or me, I think we didn't know as much as we know now, right? He had this mead that just got stuck. Like this mead's stuck. I don't remember where it stuck, but maybe 1080, 1070. He knows better than me. And he just couldn't get it restarted. It sat, and it took like a year to finally ferment down to a reasonable level, right? And he would call it the son of a bitch mead because that mead was the son of a bitch. And so, and it's funny. So he enters it in this contest because back then we just entered it. Back then we just threw darts at walls, right? We did whatever we made. We'll enter in a contest, right? And this was a good mead. I mean, once it finished out, it was a really good traditional orange blossom mead, or was it wild? I think it was orange blossom, and it got best of show. So the son of a bitch mead. After all that time, after all that headache that it gave him, so I got a best of show. He got a best of show, and so then we were okay, let's start making some stuff. And we had one day where we mixed up I think we had 6 wine fermenters, like the plastic buckets, they're like 6 gallons plus, like 7 gallons. And then we mixed like 6 buckets up one day, and we made a bunch of different mead. And one of them was a lingonberry mead. We made a mead with lingonberries. And so 2012, the next year, we took that once it was conditioned out. We entered that in Mazer Cup, and amazingly got a best of show in the Mazer Cup, or amateur for that. So so that was a pretty big deal. That was a pretty big deal, and that's
no kidding.
At that point, we were solidified. We were kind of the mead guys in the club,
Man, and that's 10 years ago, and now look where you guys are at. You're
Yeah.
I don't know, I'd say you're one of the darlings of the industry. Your bottles are
I don't
phenomenal
think
to
so.
find out at shares.
I
Huh?
I think I think that's a great notion until I go to somewhere like Sugar Belt and like none of those people know who the hell I am.
You know what? I think a lot of people know who you are. They might be just being coy because, I think your guys' meads are, at least in the mead circles that I hang out in, your guys' meads are definitely one of the ones that are sought after,
Yeah,
especially for the guys that are available on Vinoshipper because, a lot of the people that don't put their stuff on Vinoshipper, their stuff gets a little more, oh my gosh, they're not on Vinoshipper. Their stuff's so hard to get. And it's like, yeah, but it always isn't it's not always the greatest just because it's hard to get.
yeah, that's true. That is true, and some of it is. It depends. So it just
Oh,
depends.
absolutely. And that's, and like I said, do you guys actually have a club membership, or do you guys do a member bottles or anything like that?
No, we're just too small and too part-time right now to, we don't
Gotcha.
want to commit to those kinds of bottles and, let anybody down or be
Yeah.
late on them. Once we get our own place, we certainly we'll do some sort of membership. It won't be, it'll be a low-key membership. It's not gonna be one of these like, $500 and you get 10 bottles. It's gonna be more like, it'll probably be more like, it'll be like what Pip's membership used to be like.
Oh, okay.
It was, I forget, less than $100 a year, or maybe 60 a year. I don't remember. And I couldn't tell you how much it's going to be. And you just kind of like, we'll have some member only bottles that, we'll release. And if all the members don't buy them, then they'll go to the public, and if they do,
Gotcha.
great, and obviously probably some swag with it. So yeah, but we just want to get our own place for that. Right now, like I said, we always joke that we're small time, part time. So I just don't
Small
think
time, part time. I like that.
yeah, and we just don't want to let anybody down. So we're not ready to
Which
do
is
a club
nice.
yet or anything, but we will. We certainly
Yeah,
will.
Okay, that's very fair. I've definitely seen some of those guys out there that start their club memberships. What's the old term? Getting the cart before the horse, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
Get the club membership going out there, and they don't have all their stuff dialed in, and then there's a bunch of unhappy people.
I've been in that club where it's like, I won't mention the producer of beverages. I don't even want to say what kind of beverage to give anybody a hint, but I joined the club.
Sure.
And basically you get like 3 bottles a quarter or something like that, 3 or 4 bottles a quarter.
Mm-hmm.
The first 2 quarters got some really good meads. There's always a shelfie or 2, and they're like 2 kind of like, limited run meads, and then two shelfies that were even available here in Michigan. And this meadery was a good few states away. Again, I don't want to diss anybody. But then after that, I was getting shipments of meads, all 4 meads I could find on the shelf here in Michigan. I'd go to my local market and just buy them. I'm like, well, why am I paying this extra money to be in the club, and then pay for the meads? So I let that go after a year because I was in for the year, but still got a couple of them in the basement in the cellar. They age up really well. And they're good meads. I don't get me wrong, the meads were delicious.
It was more of a principle thing.
It was more of a principle thing that, and that's what we don't want to do that. We're not going to be, I mean, I think people use the term shelfie, with some derision, whereas I think most shelf meads are great, our meads are on shelves, and, I think anybody would be happy with buying one. But I think if you're going to have a club, I think there's no point in joining any kind of club if there's not exclusivity, I mean, I could make a club of people who drive down Interstate 75 who wants to join, $5 a year, right? I'm like, no, you just get on the damn freeway. So that's kind of our philosophy. We want our club to be, we want exclusive bottles. We want, probably exclusive swag. Paul is a graphic artist. He actually designed our logo, the cube and everything. I'm sure if anybody
I like your logo. That's freaking cool.
That cube right there, in fact, he designed it as glass,
I love that glassware too. That freaking is rad.
That's all Paul. But so my vision at least is, I don't know if he knows this yet, but my vision is that like if we do a club, there would certainly probably be like a member exclusive, shirt or hat or something you get,
Yeah.
that's not just one, like we'll sell our regular shirts, but then, like a club shirt or something, you get something that's a little different than the rest.
Gosh, dude.
At least that's my hope.
No, and I think that's the way it should be. I've been in a handful of clubs over the past couple years, different beer, mead clubs and whatnot. And the ones that offer just bottles, those are cool because, when their awesome bottles are awesome, it's like, okay, that was really worth it. But the rest of the time, it's like, if you get 10% off the tap room and stuff, it's like, well, if I don't live in the state,
Right.
well, what the heck good does that freaking do me? And then they don't offer any swag or anything. So now I'm basically just paying exclusive rights for like a couple handful of bottles that may or may not turn out.
Right.
For me personally.
Yeah, no, I don't really see offering a discount for the club. I think here's the thing, for some people it's super easy, and for some people it's not so easy. But for me, at least, it's not easy just to ask somebody for money, even if it's putting a price tag on a bottle of mead. We'll do our release, and this meadow foam mead I'm drinking, meadow foam mead or meadow foam honey, as you know, is very expensive, right? And so this was our first $30 bottle. Well, $29.99, because that sounds better than 30, right? And then around the same time, we also did that black currant mead. I think you had the black currant chocolate mead.
Yes. Oh, God, that was so good.
Thanks. Black currants are stupid expensive too, right?
Yes.
You basically, like any product, any company, you have a profit margin. You say, we're going to make X% on our product, right? And that should cover our overhead and blah, 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 blah. And so our margin, winds up being like $29.99 on those. And, I was uncomfortable telling somebody like, oh, how much is it? $29.99, for a 12-ounce bottle. I mean, I know that's what mead goes for. Like, I get it. I've been around mead enough to know. And I've never blinked at it, even when I've been tight on money.
Right.
Like, I want that freaking mead, right?
But
asking money is a big deal. I think asking anybody, any customer, when you ask them for money, whether it's a Kickstarter, whether it's to join your club, whether it's to walk out the door with a bottle of your mead, or to sit in your tap room and have a 3-ounce pour of your mead, it better be good. It better be like high quality, no shortcuts, and if it's something like a club, it has to be, you have to feel like you're actually on the winning end of it. There are a lot of clubs out there where I kind of say to myself, what am I really getting from this? Like, I'm getting the privilege to buy your bottles. There are clubs out there where you literally pay a yearly fee just to get first dibs. I'm like, I don't know. I think, and I've done it. Don't get me wrong. I have suffered from mead FOMO many times, but I'm kind of over it now. So if we do a club, it's going to be a low amount of money. You're going to get something out of it. You'll get, we want, member bottles, It's hard to say, like, give me $50 a year, and then you can buy my member bottles. Like, to me, that sounds weird. Give me $50
Agreed.
so you can buy my shit, right? So if you're going to do that, it better be good. It better be exclusive, and it better be something that is accessible to everybody. 10% off the tap room is meaningless, if you're not there. So
And I felt the same way about a lot of club memberships. I think that's one of the reasons why you guys are going to be successful. I'm hoping that you guys are successful, in the books, and everything is going to continue to go forward.
No, you're good.
Oh, okay.
No.
And because I'm a real big fan of your stuff,
so to close the door.
Oh, no worries. But I think that mentality that you have about, not wanting to put out subpar products, not wanting to try to hustle people, wanting to, make a respectable business. Those are the things those are the qualities that a lot of people look for in a business that they want to support, and a business that they want to, throw their money at, so to speak. And I think you guys are going to be successful. And, the fact that you're flinching at $30 a bottle when there's people out there that are putting out a product that's half the quality for twice the price, again, speaks volumes for the integrity of your character as a person, and the character of the meadery.
Yeah, I think so. I think, and don't put it out there if it's not, don't put it out for that price, at least if it's not really good. We've been lucky
Yeah.
so far. We haven't made a ton of batches. Like I said, I'd have to count how many we made, 20, 25, whatever it is. And,
Yeah.
we've been lucky, but if we have one that's a clinker, we'll do something with it probably. But
Right.
it's not going to go out there for $35. We'll do what we can,
Right.
or we'll pour it. We'll drain pour it. Like we haven't had to pour anything yet, but
You're not above it if it comes down to it.
The day comes, it'll hurt, but down it goes. So
down she goes.
we've as homebrewers, we've certainly polished some turds. Barry and I have we've given workshops on we at the 2000
I love that.
was it 2014 National Homebrewers Conference. Barry and I were fortunate enough to be picked to give a presentation. It was like a big presentation, a big hall. We had we had about 600 people at this presentation. It was daunting, and we served beer too. We served 2 corny kegs of our English bitter during it, and the presentation was called 40 Things in 40 Minutes. So we were going to like rapid fire in this 60-minute session. We're going to take 40 minutes and tell you 40 things about homebrewing that you either know, but here's a twist on it, or maybe something you didn't know. And one of our slides was, it was like somewhere in the 30s. It was like number 32, polish that turd. And we're like, don't give up. If you don't like how it turned out, there's some things you can do to it, Now, as a commercial person, I don't think I would, we wouldn't do that. But, like if there's not flavor, there's not flavor, we'd probably give it to one of our distilling friends to distill and,
Yeah, but
maybe just buy us a bottle
I think
when
that's
we're done.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's nice too. But I think that's a phenomenal sentiment, though, for homebrewers. And it's not so much the polishing the turd, so to speak. It's more of the sentiment of instilling the don't give up just because something didn't turn out the way that it did initially. Just because something isn't great doesn't mean that you can't make it into something great. Or don't give up. You can there's always ways you can build yourself back
Your
up.
worst case scenario is you made the mistake, figure out what the mistake was, and try not to make it again. Figure out what caused the mistake, and then fix that problem. So, but yeah, it's just all in the philosophy of that. Just quality is important to us. I think that's why I work well with Paul and Barry. The 3 of us work well together, is because we will not compromise on anything. Like, we've had fewer releases than we'd like to have, but we're meticulous about stuff. We are. I've seen a couple of Paul's meads. I have seen him tweak and tweak and tweak, and I'm like, dude, this is amazing. Not amazing enough, but he'll get it there. He gets it, and then you're like, then he did the final product, and you're like, oh, I see, yeah, and you're like, you're right. Like I said earlier, you can always get better, right? Mead that I'm telling him, dude, this is ready to go. Let's ship it. He's like, I want to do this. I want to try this first. And I'm like, I get it, But we learn a lot from Paul. Barry and I, Paul is sort of our, I don't know, Mr. Miyagi / Yoda / Kung Fu master.
The mentor of the group.
Pretty much.
No, that's
pretty much.
That's awesome to have that. That's awesome to have that built into the foundations of your business.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah.
I know we are coming up on the 1 hour mark. Are you?
Really,
you got a couple more minutes?
I got all the time in the world.
All right, on.
I ain't about to dome this bottle of meadow foam. This was full.
I would if I were you, man. That was delicious.
This is what I have left at this point. Yeah, it's been a while since I've domed an entire bottle of 14% mead.
I think the last time I did one was on Mead Day last year. I think I did a Pips bottle of meadow foam. They're Nori and Friends. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was probably not my best idea, but it was delicious.
That's tough on your liver and your pancreas.
And the pocketbook.
Yeah. I was a Pips member for many years. Actually, and nothing, no slight or anything. I gave up my membership when he went to this sort of 400, and I picked the bottles, and where it was like, I liked it before when I was paying 60 or 70 or whatever, and I just got the bottles that I wanted,
Yep.
So, yeah, it's just not my membership style. Nothing wrong with it, and it works really for them. It works perfect. It's probably the best for them.
Model.
Yeah, I'm looking forward
Yeah,
to it.
and didn't they just open up their tap room?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I'm looking forward to checking it out. I'll be in Chicago. Barry and I'll be going to the Great Taste of the Midwest in August. It's the second weekend in August, so we'll be heading through Chicago, and my plan is to stop in for sure.
Yeah, I would definitely be stopping in as well if I was going to be in the area.
Yeah, no, I know, Matt.
All right, so at the end, to wrap up, what's that?
Sorry, I think you cut out there.
Say at the end of every interview, I'd like to do a little kind of rapid fire question type of thing going on. So, see, what's the first thing you think about in the morning when you get up?
Oh boy, seeing how long I can delay getting up.
It's a man of my own heart right there. That's my thing every day. How long can I push off getting out of bed?
Yeah. How long can I push it off?
Hot or cold?
What's that?
Hot or cold?
Cold.
Favorite breakfast cereal?
I don't eat cereal. I just don't eat cereal. Yeah, I don't know.
What about when you were a kid?
Cereal since I was a kid.
Oh, okay. When you were a kid, what was your favorite breakfast cereal?
Crunch Berries.
Yeah, that's a solid call right there. What was your first car?
1975 Ford Mustang II. Had an inline six. On my 16th birthday, we yanked out the motor and put in a V8, a 302.
There you go. That's what I'm talking about.
7 a.m. the next day.
Jeez Louise. What's your favorite thing to cook?
Barbecue, smoked meats. Always smoking something.
I'm a huge fan of barbecue and smoked meats myself.
I made the
we're going out. Burgers, pizzas.
I ever made in my life about 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Yeah?
I mean, I wished there was a contest I could have put it in. I'd never had it. I think I got lucky. I nailed it like I've never nailed it before. That's what she said. But it was the best brisket. It might be the best brisket I ever had. It was insane.
Well, you said you're just down the road from Shram's. I have an invitation from James and Allison to boondock my rig at their house, so I'll have to swing by and have some barbecue with you.
Oh, 100%. Absolutely. I saw James about 2 weeks ago. We did a presentation. Barry and I and James did a presentation to it's a national group. It's like a Facebook group, but they get together. They have a yearly get together. It's called Brothers of Craft. It's an It's a group of African Americans that are really into craft beer. It's a very organized group, and they had their meeting in Detroit this year. And one of the organizers, Harry, is a customer of ours, a really good customer of ours, and he invited us and James to come introduce this group to Mead. So I actually see James, 2 or 3 weeks ago I saw him.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm dying to get up to that area and hang out. I was hoping to be up there this summer. Things didn't quite play out that way. But when I do get to that area, and I will get up there, I'll definitely stop by.
I expect to be informed of your imminent arrival.
Absolutely, my man. I let all my friends know when I'm coming into town. All right, burgers, pizza, or tacos?
Tacos. I'm a Spanish teacher.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
I lived in Mexico.
I did have a lot to drink that weekend.
Yeah.
Coffee or tea?
Tea. I hate coffee.
Same. I'm much more of a tea drinker. I'll drink coffee occasionally, but yeah, I'm definitely a tea drinker. If you could have any superpower, what would it be?
Oh, geez. Probably mind control.
Mind control is always a good one, man. I love being able to influence what people think and how they feel.
Mm-hmm.
What was the worst job you ever had growing up?
I've had more jobs than anybody that you know. I'll tell you.
Oh, wow.
How much time do you got here? I don't want to waste your time. But, when I was in college, I answered an ad, and basically they were looking for people that spoke Spanish, and it said that, you know, about doing, it was about doing phone surveys of like impoverished people, you know, Hispanics in the Southwest, and it was like for a research project, right? And it was paying like, I
Okay.
don't remember how much an hour, but whatever good money is in like 1989 or so, 1990. And so I go and I have this interview. It was a very short interview. And I even said, this isn't like telemarketing though, is it? And they're like, no, we're trying to gather data. Okay. And they're like, when can you start? And I'm like, whenever. And they're like, can you work today? I was like, sure, we'll train you right now. So they take me back, train me for about 15 minutes. And they're like, okay. So what happens is they put you get like the headset, and there's this like computer screening. I mean, this is like, you know, one of those like old computers that was like
the black and green screen.
Green screen, yeah. And like the person's information would set up, and like I like take the little button and click it, and then it would call the number, right? And there was a script, and that didn't even, it was so fast. They're like, okay, we'll take you back, we'll train you, have you do it today, right now. I'm like, okay, right? And like, just read the script. It's all in Spanish, by the way, right? So, and I start asking the questions, like a 3-page script. So I go through the first, and I'm recording the answers. I have to record the answers in this logbook. Get to the second page, right? And it starts asking about infant formula and how much they spend on infant formula and et cetera. Get to the third page. I have to sell them infant formula, like a mail subscription, like a by mail subscription to get infant formula delivered to the house. It was totally freaking telemarketing. And so, and again, this is all in Spanish. I like kind of like get to this page, and I said to the woman, I said, "Oh, senora, I'm so sorry, but let me explain the situation to you. They told me that I wasn't just, that I was doing research, and that I didn't have to sell things, and this wasn't telemarketing, but it obviously is, and they lied to me, and so I feel bad. So I'm gonna let you go. I'm so sorry for wasting your time, and have a nice day." And she was like, "Okay," and I hung up. I walked out, and I punched out. There was an actual punch card, right? So I'd been there maybe 40 minutes or so. And like about 6 weeks later, I got a check in the mail for like $3 and some change.
Well, at least it was legitimate business. They actually paid you for your time.
Yeah, but I've worked in a kitchen, you know, in a restaurant, in the middle of the, you know, sweltering summer, like during the Ann Arbor Art Fair, which is a huge deal. So I've had some brutal jobs, and you know, and there are days teaching ain't a great job. There are days it's great. So most days it's great.
Hey, yeah, I would imagine teaching definitely has its ups and downs, so to speak.
It does. Barry, when you're in town, when we're hanging out drinking, hit me and Barry up for some good teaching stories. We got some doozies that I probably wouldn't share on the live cast here.
No, that's fair. Hey, and I've been a student. I've got some crazy stories as well.
Oh yeah, I'm sure you're a great student.
I did pretty good. I did graduate with like a 3.2. I showed up and applied myself. I didn't.
The office once or twice.
I can't say I never went to the office, so that's
what I thought.
Well, may have been.
We can spot them a mile away.
Oh man, if you're going out to the bar, man, are we shooting pool? Are we playing darts?
Darts, 100%.
Yeah, I'm the same way, man. I'm a big darts guy. I'm not so good at billiards, but shuffleboard is my favorite. I love shuffleboard, like the table shuffleboard, not the boat style one.
Yeah. So I was just 2 things. One, don't play pool with Barry. He will hustle your ass.
Fair enough.
Dart. I keep a set of darts in my glove box, so I'm always ready for some darts. But then the other thing wasn't. Oh, shuffleboards. So my wife and I we went to in Columbus, Ohio. We just got back this afternoon. Went to the Brewdog. They got like a brewery there now, and with a hotel, and they have real shuffleboard tables, like full-size, legit shuffleboard tables. I was like,
wait, this is where at?
Brewdog. You know the beer brand Brewdog. They're out of Scotland.
No,
but they got a big brewery in
familiar.
Columbus now, and they have a hotel.
Okay,
it's like a.
I assumed I heard something else when you said Brewdog.
Yeah.
But no, that sounds awesome. I'm here for the full-size shuffleboard tables.
They have it. They have 3 of them. I couldn't believe it. I was like, wow. Didn't get a chance to play, but next time I'm back, I'm definitely going to. But yeah, darts all the way at that question.
All right. And my last question, if you could replace a star in any movie, what would it be? Or who would it be and what movie would it be?
Replace the star with me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or have somebody, yeah.
Yeah, like if I could play the part instead of the famous person, you mean?
Yeah.
Oh, that's easy. I would replace Sean Penn in Fast Times at Ridgemont High and be Jeff Spicoli, because I kind of lived that life in high school. I don't have to think about that.
Oh, yeah, no kidding, man. A lot of people go for like action movies and stuff. You're like, no, I want to be Spicoli, man.
Hey, bud, what's your problem? I could quote that whole movie.
Oh, no, that's the best, dude. I was not expecting you to say that, but I'm here for it, and that's everything, dude.
Let's put it this way. People I went to high school with, when they run into me, they're like, oh, what are you doing now? I'm like, oh, I'm a high school teacher. Usually the response is, oh, bullshit. They're like, not you. And I'm like, yeah, actually me. Like, kids can't get away with it. Like, I did it all, you know?
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. Hey, people like that make the best teachers. Like, hey, I've been there. I've seen it. I know what's going on.
Yep.
I appreciate your time very much today, Michael. Anybody who's not following this, when you're watching it, if you're not following Triaxial, go hit them up on all their social medias. Yeah, they are available on the Vinoshipper, which is amazing, shipping to like 40-something states. And if for whatever reason they can't ship to your state, you know, maybe get a friend in another state and have them proxy it over to you or something like that. But you need to get a hold of some of these guys' meats because they are delicious.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate the time. It was fun. It was good to see you again. I had fun hanging out with you in Sugar Belt. At Sugar Belt, I mean.
Oh, yeah.
It was
yes, I had
fun watching you run around like a crazy man trying to record everything. I was like,
he's
not gonna live stream this whole thing. You gave it a shot, though, man.
I did.
I watched
it, and it turned out like
fun.
crap.
Yeah, no.
I just wish the video quality wouldn't have been so cruddy, but it is what it is. I got a better plan for next year. So
no, it was still fun. And,
the important thing.
Awesome. You're kind of like a Mead evangelist right now. I think that's awesome. We need more of them.
Hey, I'm happy to do it. I'm having a lot of fun doing it and meeting a lot of cool people. And to be honest, that's the best part. I'm a people person. And I love just talking to people and chatting. And my wife hates it. I'm such a small talker. According to my wife, I've never met a stranger in my life. You know what I mean?
I'm kind of the same. Yeah, definitely. Well, stay in touch, you know, and if you make it to Michigan, definitely hit us up. Are you hitting Sugar Belt next year? Are you planning to go?
I'm trying. Yeah, definitely gonna hit up Sugar Belt next year, and I'm trying to get over to I'm trying to get to Sugar Belt Richmond this year too, in October.
About that, we didn't get invited, so.
So I don't. I'm sure you'll be invited next year. Trust me. As far as I know, this whole thing is going to be amazing. The Sugar Belt thing is going to blow up. I
think so.
I was reading a thing about, So, thank you very much, my man.
All right.
And I'll shoot you some messages. Talk to you about this festival thing. Have a good rest of your night.
See ya.
Later on. Well, I had a phenomenal time. Oh, and there's still a couple people watching. I'm surprised. Yeah, so I had a great time today talking to Mr. Mike Spears there from Triaxial Meads out of Michigan. Like I said, they're on Vinoshipper, which is phenomenal. So definitely get on the Vinoshipper and grab some bottles from these guys. From what I've had, you pretty much can't go wrong. Pick a flavor profile that you like, grab it, have it shipped out. Shoot me a message. Let me know how you liked it because I'm dying to try, dying to hear what other people think about when they try their meads. So good lightning round answers. Going to have to watch the replay. Yes. Have a good night, Tony. Appreciate you. Everybody else, appreciate you either watching now here live or in the future pre-record after it's already been recorded. Have a good rest of your evening, and I will see you in the next interview. Peace.